I look so homeless. Should I
know.
change? You look so you look so like you look so like cute and all done, and I'm like sweatshirt.
You look beautiful.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Board Game Buzz today. My name is Carly.
And I'm Kim.
And today we're going to be ranking our top 10 games from the BGG's top 100 list. Woo woo! I am so excited about this list. I think I don't know where I got the idea. Where did you get the idea?
I was thinking that we should do like a video
You
of
were-
the hotness.
Oh, of
like
the
talking
hotness.
about like what's hot on BGG. So it's a little different. but
Yeah, well, that's probably where I got the idea from, because I was like, I wonder, like, there's so many great games on the BGG Top 100, but truthfully, there's a lot that I haven't played. But there's also a lot that I have played, and I was like, if I could take, you know, the top 100 games that people claim are like the best games of all time, what would be my top 10 out of that 100 list? So when you pull up the BGG Top 100, were there your top 10, you were like, boom, that was it? Or was it hard? I'm guessing it was harder for you than it was for me, because I feel like so many of the games you love are on the BGG Top 100 list.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like to narrow it down to 10, was that hard for you?
You'll see. But the top 3 were easy for me to
Okay.
pick. So I like knew what my top 3 were, like for sure. He's got my earring.
Oh no, oh no, be careful, don't get it. Don't eat the earring, that's yucky.
So the top 3 were easy for me, and then after that I did have a little bit of a hard time. And actually, like, I had this moment just this morning. I was like, wait, did I make a mistake? Because this game's on the list and it's not on my list. But I was like, no, if I forgot about it enough to not include
Then
it
it doesn't
on the
deserve
list,
to be on
then I guess it's not there. But it would be in like the top 15
So how many crossovers do you think we're gonna have?
crossovers.
I
Oh.
know for a fact.
I have to look at my list.
I know for a
to
fact
know.
that we're gonna have one crossover. I would bet all the money in my bank account
Let's see.
that we're gonna have this one particular game. The
1,
rest I have no idea.
2, 3, 4 crossovers.
You think
my
we'll have
guess.
4?
I think so.
See, I think we have a lot of games that we have similar mindsets and we like a lot.
Uh-huh.
But my concern is so many of the games that you love, so many that I personally haven't played are on the
Oh,
list.
yeah.
And so I worry that, yes, you like the game, but
But
what it
you
made your
haven't
list,
played it,
you
yeah.
know?
Right. So yeah, I still think that they're.
You still think there'll be 4?
Yeah, I predicted.
Okay.
I made a list of what I think will be on Carly's top 10. So I'm looking at the list, and
Oh, well, you should say it. What
Oh.
are the games that you are anticipating being on my list?
I didn't rank them by what I
That's
think
okay.
you will do.
Just what do you think they
So,
are?
Lost Ruins of Arnak, Obsession, Scythe, Blood Rage, Castles of Burgundy, Wingspan, Quacks of Quedlinburg, is it right?
Yes.
Everdell, Cascadia, and Viticulture.
Okay, so the games that I think that are going to be on your list are Power Grid, Race for the Galaxy, Blood Rage, Castles of Burgundy. I think Castles of Burgundy will be on your list too. I think that's all that I feel pretty confident
about.
on. Yes. I would be shocked if those 4 are not on your list. Truly shook it. So the way we're gonna go ahead and structure this list is we'll go through starting with our number 10, working all up to our number 1, working all the way up to our number 1. So these are gonna be the 10 games, our top 10 games from the BGG Top 100 list.
Are you ready for it?
Are you ready for it?
Sorry, I had to.
We should have like fireworks like All right, so starting with our number 10, something that I wanted to say really quick is we decided we wanted to grab the games really quick and pull them up. I don't think we don't have all of the games, so the games that we do have will like show off a little bit. So when the ones that we don't, I'll just put a little picture in the corner. But Kim,
All right.
tell us a little bit about your number 10.
My number 10 is I cheated.
We're starting off with
It's
cheating.
the only time though, okay? And I
Okay,
just could
we'll
not
give it to you.
pick. And that is 7 Wonders.
I love that you cheated.
It wouldn't be a true top 10 list if
there wasn't cheating.
And Lords of Waterdeep. And I think I was right to cheat on this because they are also like ranked very closely in the top 100.
So you're justified in your
I'm
cheating.
justified. Seven Wonders is 91 and Lords of Waterdeep is 87.
Oh, they are really close.
Yes.
Okay.
Obviously, these are very well loved games.
Well,
You can like tell that by by the boxes, which is like a part of like I think the charm of showing them off. They're some of the oldest in my collection. They are two games that got me. Actually, Lords of Waterdeep, the very first time that I participated in the BGG Secret Santa. This was not on my wish list because I didn't know about it. But my Secret Santa gifted it to me, and they're like, "This is a game
they're
I
like,
love.
we know better.
Yeah.
We know what you really
and I
need."
hope you will enjoy it." And I did. Like, obviously I did. It's a really good, like, I feel like intro, like, entry level board game, like for board game. And that's like the same with, I guess, Seven Wonders. It was the first like drafting game I ever played, and the concept like blew my mind. Like, what?
Wait a second.
Yeah, like I love that you can play it with so many people. And it also goes so fast. Like I can play this game in 4 minutes on Board Game Arena. So like when I have 5 minutes to spare, like just play a quick game of it on Board Game Arena. And it's just so fun. You get a lot of people around the table. They're both just great, like classic games.
They really are classic games. I played
Yes.
Seven Wonders. I am so humiliated to say that I've never actually played Lords of Waterdeep.
Well, no.
So
we
we
can
have
play
to, we'll put it on the shelf as like ones we need to play next.
And
I've been wanting to.
I just couldn't pick between either of them because they both, came into the collection around the same time. They like started helped start my collection, and they're great games.
Okay, so my number 10, I'm actually surprised. When I ranked my list, what I did was I pulled my favorites from the top 100 and I plugged them into Pub Meeple. Have you ever used Pub Meeple? It's like a website where you like can rank board games, and it's nice because you can actually input your Board Game Geek information.
Okay.
And anyways, it's a really great website. So I just plugged it in, and I think I switched like 2 things around, but for the most part I kind of kept it where it was. So I was surprised that this one actually ended up, I thought this would end up further up on the list, but it actually ended up at number 10. This one is also currently number 16. So it's funny because this one is actually the highest ranked on BGG, and it's coming in on number 10. But this game, what? I almost just fell over. Oh, it's
That's how hefty it is.
Heavy. Oh my gosh. This is Castles of Burgundy. This is like the new edition, and this game has had like, what, 3 iterations now?
Yeah, there's a bunch.
And the first ones were both terrible. So this finally has like it's finally gotten the justice that it deserves. This is a beautiful game where you will be basically like, you're not drafting. You're collecting the tiles.
Yeah,
you're not drafting the
no,
tiles,
you're
right?
not
You're
drafting.
collecting the tiles, adding them to your estate to try to build out your like duchy, right? You're like building out like, your little duchies. It's so fun. Like as I was playing it, I'm like, this just feels like a classic game. Like it gives me that like classic game vibes, you know? And I love the artwork in this. It's a beautiful game. I love this game. So it's my number 10. Do you need a bottle? Should we do a bottle break? Or do you just want me? So Castles of Burgundy, I'm surprised that this ended up so low on my list. But I love this game. I'm like in 5 games of this right now on Board Game.
We're playing 2. Yeah, we're playing 2.
I really do adore this game, and I'm really excited to, does this have the Vineyards expansion
Yes,
in
it does.
I'm really excited to play that, because I've never played with the Vineyards. Have you played with
No,
it?
I haven't.
Oh, so we should play with it. Okay. All right, so this is my number 10, Castles of Burgundy. Okay, you just want to skip? Or do
He wants to touch everything.
Do you want a bottle? Oh, that was so sick. Oh my goodness.
My number 9, I do not own. Unfortunately, it's on the list to be owned. At some point.
The list of hundreds of games.
Yes, and that is right here. That is Arc Nova. You're like building like your zoo, and you're like bringing animals into your zoo, and there's like different projects that you get to work on, and I'm trying to think of the word. It's not humanitarian efforts.
No,
it's for animals.
It's like conservation.
Yes, that's the word. Conservation efforts. Like there's things that you're doing for like conservation efforts in the game, and the artwork is it's a beautiful game. It is like so beautiful.
It's ranked high.
Yeah,
isn't it? Like
it
in the
is.
10?
I'm pretty sure it's number 4. Yeah, it is number 4.
Yeah, I think that's out of all the games we have, I think that one is probably the one that will be ranked the highest the highest on the top 100 list.
It is. But I played it and I was just like, it made me feel so excited and want to dive in more. I just think it's gonna be one like that's gonna be harder to table in general because it's longer and not everyone was as excited about it. I think at like our board game group as like I was. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Sorry.
Beckham,
life with an infant.
stop ruining her Wi-Fi.
But it deserves to be on the list.
Yeah. All right, so my number 9 is a game that I have loved forever. I love this game. It was actually one of the first ones that I played. It's a worker placement game from Stonemaier, and it's all about making wine, which is ironic because I don't drink. But I love this game, and this game is viticulture. So viticulture, like I kind of mentioned, this is a worker placement game where literally you have like a vineyard in Tuscany and you are going through and planting grapes, which then you harvest those grapes, age those grapes, and then you sell those grapes for different types of wine. I love the worker placement in this, and my favorite part about the game is when you collect the grapes, you like collect your harvest, and you have to wait for that harvest to age in order for it to turn into the wine.
Sorry.
In order to turn into the wine that you then need to sell. I really am obsessed with this game. Me and Jordan love it. We play it all the time. Again, it's funny, we don't drink, but every time we do play this game, we get like sparkling like drinks and we like drink.
You get into it.
We get into it. Yeah, it's when we like put on like Italian music and like we get fancy drinks. We just sit and play our little wine making game. It's one of my favorites from Stonemaier, but this is not the only Stonemaier game that is on this list. So even though I love it, it's not. There's another one coming that I
haven't played this
even
one.
a little more. Oh my god. Okay, we need to make a separate video just talking about the games that we need to play. And we are going to take a quick break to feed him because he's eating my hair.
A few moments later.
I just fed him a bottle and he's just going to chill back there until he's not chill anymore. Then we'll bring him back. Okay. 8?
Yep.
8.
We're number 8. Okay.
Take it away.
My number 8 is Everdell.
I love
And
Everdell.
Everdell is number 35 on.
It's up there.
Yeah.
Yep, it's up there. Top 50.
It is in the top 50. This is one that I first played with Carly.
I forgot that I taught you.
Yes, Carly taught it to me. It's like really charming, but then it's also actually like surprisingly like got quite a bit of depth to it. Which I don't think like you would have expected that because it sounds so like sweet and like yay, like
Building out your little village.
Yeah, but it's actually got quite a bit of depth. You get to build out a tableau of cards where you have like buildings, different kind of structures of cards that you're building out into your tableau, and then there are creatures that get to go like live in those buildings, and it's so fun to be able to chain those. I think the build-up of the game is the thing that is most like surprising and interesting to me because in the first couple seasons, you think like, you don't feel like you're doing a lot and you're like, am I really gonna be able to like
build out 15 cards?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden like it just like boom, boom, like it exponentially like suddenly you're like, oh, I'm doing it and things are happening and like it was just like this really exciting thing that happens. It's got more depth than I like anticipated, and then just like the build up of it. It's so good.
Okay, so my number 8 is currently ranked number 45, so kind of in the middle. I love this game. The very first time that I played it, I was like, yes, this is a game for me. This game is Cascadia. I love Cascadia. This game, literally the first time I played it, I was like, this is just so smartly designed. Like I was so impressed by it. In this game, you will be collecting tiles and little animal pieces, placing those into a grid, or basically placing them in front of you, and you're building out your little your nature area and attracting the animals. Your bears like to be by other bears. So if you have little groups of bears, that will score you a lot of points. Your salmon like to be in one big long run. Your birds like to be not touching any other birds. They like to be on their own or solo. And so you're doing all of that puzzle on top of the puzzle of trying to match up your landscapes as big as you can and as best as you can. But then also on top of that, the game does come with multiple different cards that you can switch out for the animals, so you're not just stuck to this one certain puzzle that you're doing. Every time you play, you can be like, okay, I want to do salmon in short runs this time. I want to have my elk in big herds or long herds or different. So you're basically just doing lots of different puzzles. This is a game that is straight up just a cozy game for me. If I just want just a chill game at the end of the night, this is the game that I would pull off the shelf, is Cascadia. I don't care. I love so much just sitting down and playing this game. I don't even care if I get points or not. Yeah. Honestly, I love this game so much because it's just a chill, cozy game where I feel like first thing in the morning, you grab your cup of coffee and you sit down on your living room table and you can chill, play a game. Yeah, it's like a brunch game. Oh my goodness, we should do that. We should have top 10 brunch games. That's exactly what this is. I think this is a fantastic game. And for the longest time, I was saying, nothing will ever beat Cascadia for me as far as a cozy tile-laying game. This will be my favorite. I love Calico, but it's more head-to-head fighting almost.
It looks cozier by the cover, but it's
not.
Yeah, it's not.
And so that's why I was I might actually like the puzzle and I like Calico more, but as far as a chill game, this one's my favorite. I don't think anything will ever top this. And then Harmonies came out. I think Harmonies might have actually replaced Calico for me. Or not Calico, Cascadia. But Harmonies isn't on the top 100. So, Cascadia, fantastic game. Maybe it'll change. I don't know, it might. But Cascadia truly is fantastic. I love this game. You still need to play it.
I know, I still do.
I have to play it after this video.
My number 7 is number 7 on the top 100 list.
Oh, is it really?
It is.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
That was not intentional at all. And I actually only played it for the first time last night. And
it's a little bit of recency bias.
Yes. I've heard really great things about it. I'm told that if I like this game, I'm not going to say which game that is, that I would like this one, and that is Terraforming Mars. I was surprised by how much the theme is actually in the game. The goal of the game is obviously to get the most points. You're trying to terraform Mars and you're trying to get the temperature up to 8 degrees Celsius, and you're trying to get 9 oceans spread out onto Mars, and then you're trying to get the oxygen all the way up to 14, whatever that means. So those are the things that you're trying to do and to gain points. And if you're playing it solo, you're trying to do all 3 of those things within 14 generations.
Okay.
And I was 1 money short of being able to get the oxygen up to 14. And
all that hard work
before the 14th generation.
Still didn't terraform Mars.
And the other thing that again, this has a really great build up for me. Actually, it reminded me a little bit of Power Grid, vaguely, in that in Power Grid, you're gaining more currency each time you spread out. In this one, as you are playing and you're putting your cards out, and you are able to build up your production and produce more each generation. It had a really good build up. It gives me the board game tingles. I'm just excited about it, just holding it, touching it. I'm glad I don't have to with Ark Nova. I'm oh, I'll own it at some point. I have this. It's
you
mine.
have it. It's yours.
Good.
Again, this is another one that I'm dying I haven't played yet.
Yeah.
How have I not played Terraforming Mars? That is such
a
huge game. I hear about it everywhere. Just never. Well, I guess I've never even had it because you bought that fairly recently.
Yeah.
So now we actually have a physical copy.
So it was upside down the whole time.
Oh, I don't think. Well, if it was, oh well. Okay, so my number 7 really surprised me when I played it. I heard a lot of great stuff about it, and honestly, I'm surprised that it's actually on the Board Game Geek Hotness, because I feel like it's kind of a more obscure game.
Wait,
and
Hotness or Top 100?
Sorry, Top 100. What did I say?
Because they're different. You said Hotness, yeah.
Top 100. I was surprised as I was going through this. I was surprised that it was on it because I feel like, I don't know, I don't feel like everybody's gonna jive with the theme, but I loved this game. Actually, Mark from Awfully, he was the one that he taught me this game on BGA. And he was the first one that played it with, and I loved it. I fell in love with the way that the worker placement action worked in this game. So this game, hold baby for a second, is Obsession. So Obsession is a game where you are basically taking on the role of a family in like the 1800s or something, and you are running this estate, trying to like build out your family and like your property, and and you are like hosting events, trying to attract the noble people to your estate, and basically I think you're trying to like kind of court this really well-known, like prestigious family, trying to like marry off your son or your daughter into this family. The way that the worker placement works in this game is really fascinating, because you have your little house. Your workers are basically your servants. So you have like your butler, your footman, your whatever, and each of those workers can only activate certain abilities or activate certain cards in your hand. So you're really, it's not like all your workers can do the same things. It's like, in order to play this lady down, she requires a footman and a butler and a lady's maid in order to play her and activate her. So I really like that aspect, and the way, like I said, just that like the worker placement works. And it's fun, and it's just, I don't know, I love the theme, but I love like Pride and Prejudice, like vibes and everything. I almost want to like,
It feels like another brunch game.
yeah, it's like I almost like want to dress up and like have like a hat and like tea party and just like play this game. But yeah, I love Obsession. So much fun. If you have not ever looked into this game, you should look into it.
My number 6 is another game that I first played with Carly, and that Carly taught me, and Carly raved about
Forever.
Like from the moment like I first met Carly and we were bonded over board games. This is my favorite game. Maybe that spoils it. But that is Lost Ruins of Arnak. The more I have played it, the more I've liked it, and it's gone up in my own personal enjoyment of it. And I've been really enjoying playing it on BGA as well, because I feel like it's one that I've like, the more I've been able to dive into it and see what the different cards do and what the different strategies, and like, do I want to try to get I don't even know what the compasses first to like go out and explore, or do I want to try to like do my research and whatnot? Currently rated number 28 on the top 100, and it's like worker placement with deck building and
resource management.
And there's also like a race element too with the research. It's just so, and then you get to like fight monsters, which is something I like doing.
Yep.
And the theme is it's got a really good theme. It's just it is a really fun game, and I've just really enjoyed being able to like explore it and dive into it. And there is so much to like explore with it.
Yes.
Like the theme is like exploring, but like as a person playing a game and trying to figure out how the different things and mechanisms work together, I'm not ever bored. The replayability is great with this game, and on top of that, Carly has expansions to the game, but even just like the base game, it's a double-sided board, so you can play the like snake track, or is it a bird on the other side?
Like a phoenix
or a phoenix?
Something. Maybe it's a bird.
So like even with that, such a base game, there are it's just, I don't know, it's really fun. So you should definitely check it out. So that is my number 6, Lost Ruins of Arnak.
I love the base game, but I don't feel like there's too many games where I'm like, you need the expansion.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like for this game, the expansion just makes the game, like, it just makes it perfect in my mind. Like, as close to perfect as I feel like a board game can be. I love the expansion.
I don't know if I've played it with the expansion.
So it, like, introduces, so you, instead of, like, playing as a color, you play as an actual leader. And you have different abilities and a couple different cards than everybody else around the table. So it's fun because, again, it adds that asymmetric, a little bit of like an asymmetric touch to the game, which I love in games.
Even just like a little, I mean, it's already a thematic game, but it adds even a little bit more depth of like that theme. There you have it. Last Runes of Arnak.
Okay, so my number 6 is a game that I really love. Again, it's another worker placement game. Can you tell I like worker placement games?
Over here.
I feel like if somebody has never really played a worker placement game before and doesn't really know what it is, this is like the first game that I pull off the shelf because this is basically purely a worker placement game. And that is Architects of the West Kingdom. So in this game you have like a ton, I think you have like 20 or 25 workers. And you have this huge board, and the point of the game is to basically build up this kingdom. So you'll be placing workers, collecting resources, but what's interesting is that if you go to a location, let's pretend you go to the quarry to get stone. You go the first time, so you have 1 worker there, so you collect 1 stone. Well, the next time you go there, you'll have 2 workers there, so you'll collect 2 stone. The next time you go, you have 3 workers there, so you collect 3 stone. So you can slowly build up your power in each of these locations, but what's interesting is that other people around the table, if I see Kim and she's getting really powerful in the forest, and I know the next time Kim goes to the forest, she's gonna get 5 wood. Well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna round up Kim's workers and throw them in jail, and I'm gonna get paid for that. So you're going around, because you want to obviously build up your workers, but you don't want to build them up too much that you're suspicious to other people around the table, so they just take your workers and throw them in jail, and then they get paid for that. So it's just such a fun little like give and take. There's always that tension of, is somebody going to take my workers or take my stuff, you know? It's just such a fun game. Love this game. This is a great introduction to worker placement. I think if somebody like has never played games before, maybe this would be a little bit too complex, but if you have like someone who is kind of starting to get into games, they've played a handful of games, I think this would be a good one to be like, hey, this is what worker placement is. It's a great game. Adore this game. So yeah, that's Architects of the West Kingdom.
So my number 5, I do not own my own copy of, but some very dear friends of ours who we play board games with a lot, they have this game. So much fun playing it, whether we win or lose.
Aeon's End?
Aeon's End, there you go.
So good, so good.
And currently Aeon's End is ranked 82 on the top 100. And
I'm surprised that one's not higher.
Well,
that's on the lower end.
Yeah, I guess. It's a cooperative deck building game. Okay, interrupting myself. Carly sent me a link to the Dice Towers, like, games that are ranked really high that they all think are like highly overrated.
Was this one on that list?
It was one of them. He was describing it as like you're fighting generic monsters and it's this new concept of a deck building game that you don't have to shuffle your deck. But you know, there is no shuffling. So if you hate shuffling your deck, I think
well, it's interesting because then you can also kind of track on where stuff is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that I like the little bit of strategy. I enjoy that aspect of not having to shuffle my cards and the little bit of like slight puzzle there is to how I stack my cards. I enjoy deck building games in general. That's a mechanism I really enjoy. Part of that is because the replay value of deck building games is so high. You can switch out those cards that are available to purchase from to like create a whole different game. And the players, each of the players that you're playing as, they each have like different powers that you get to do. And so I don't ever feel like I'm playing the same game, but I don't ever feel like I'm playing the same game because the way things like happen each game is different. So that's my number 5.
Nice. So my number 5, I'm not going to talk about too much because it's already been spoken about. But my number 5 is Everdell. So I love Everdell. My favorite part in Everdell is I love the way that every house, for the most part, connects with a certain animal. And so sometimes, you know, if you're able to find those combinations where, hey, if I'm able to find this animal, I can just move it right in for free. I love that kind of trying to get through the deck to try to find those animals. I love the way that the cards operate, love the way that the cards link with each other. I love the build-up, like you said, I love the resource management, trying to like unlock this to then activate this to then gain this, which then I can spend on this. So that level of thinking ahead that you have to do in this, really love it. So yeah, Everdell's fantastic. That's why it's my number 5.
Here it is, my number 4. No build up, just straight up power grid. This game is currently ranked number 61 on BGG Top 100. This is Jordan, my husband's favorite game. And I think like maybe a part of like the reason why it is ranked also because like the love that my husband has for this game also like rubs off a little bit on me. It's so good. It just is. Like I'm like, what else do you say about it? There's like a bidding, there's different phases of the game, there's a bidding section, and who gets to bid first depends on like how many like factories you have built in each player, and then like if you've built the least amount of factories, then you get to buy your like resources first, and it's just, I don't know, it's just so good, the bidding that happens, and it's so fun to see how like sometimes there's a card out that maybe I don't think is like one that I'm going for, but like 2 other players both really want it, and they like end up bidding like astronomically like more than what it's worth, and I'm like, well, like it's their money that they're spending on it. And then,
I didn't know there was bidding in this game.
Oh yeah.
I kind of have recently discovered that I love auctions and bidding in games. I don't know why, I really enjoy it. So
yeah, so there's the first round of like bidding and trying to get the cards that you want, and then also the strategy of like trying to have the cards that are going to power your factories, because you're only limited to 3 different cards, and each of those cards can only power a certain amount of factories. And the resource management is so good because it's a limited pool of resources. There's a little bit of sometimes like buying out the market so that someone else who maybe is trying to get those resources, they can't get them.
Get it.
So,
I feel like most of the ones on your stinking list I haven't played. I feel so embarrassed.
so there's a lot on your list I haven't played. So
You know what
I'm
this
like,
means.
this is
24-hour game-a-thon.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Okay, so interrupting myself. There are all these like reels on Instagram, like book girlies who have like 24 bookathons. I'm like, I saw her video. I was like, we need to do this for board games.
Let us know in the comment below if you want us to do a live stream 24-hour. If we did that, you'd have to pray for our husbands, because it means all the kids would be on their plate for 24 hours.
Yeah, well, I mean, like we could nap, we could still get some sleep in.
We could solo game while the other one naps.
Oh yes, there you go.
So my number 4 is a game that everybody like loves to hate a little bit. There's one that's recently come out that's replaced this game for a lot of gamers.
Me.
But in this, and for Kim, and this game you are attracting birds to your little wildlife preserve, I think. Is that what it is, a wildlife preserve? But this game is Wingspan. So, like I already mentioned, this is like a tableau building game, kind of, where you will be collecting birds, adding them in certain rows, and then the more birds that you produce out on these roads will kind of give you more and more abilities, kind of helping you ramp up to that end game, kind of like Everdell.
Yeah.
I know that for a while there was like a Wingspan versus Everdell kind of debate. But recently, Wormspan, should I pull out Wormspan? Maybe I'll pull out Wormspan. So recently, Wormspan came out.
Beautiful.
I know, it's so pretty. Which is it's a very similar game. You're essentially doing the same thing, but it is like almost like a more thinky version of Wingspan. So if you're kind of more of like a hardcore gamer, I would recommend Wormspan. However, Wormspan is not on the top 100 yet. And the more I play Wormspan, I really love Wormspan. Really love it, really enjoy it. Something about Wingspan though, it just like, it holds my heart, and I totally understand why, and I totally understand that this is like more simple. It's more, I feel like it's, I don't know how to describe it other than that. It's like a more simple version. So like I do think that Wormspan is more thinky, But something about Wingspan, it just holds my heart every single time that me and Jordan sit down to play it. I just get so happy, and I love like collecting the birds and building out. And I know lots of people don't like the bird feeder mechanism because when you collect food, you can only collect food based on what is in the bird feeder, and that's all like randomized by dice. I know people hate that. I love it because it's like another puzzle that you kind of have to work around, another thing you got to think through. But I don't know. So something about Wingspan just holds my heart. I love this one. I think I do prefer it to Everdell, so that's why I think this is higher up on my list above Everdell. But yeah, so this is Wingspan. Love this game. Check it out. You're
Number 3.
number 3.
Carly's already talked about this one a bit. So my number 3 is the Castles of Burgundy. I just got to play this game last year, and I like immediately fell in love with it, and I bought it.
I was the same. Like literally after the first play, I was like, "Yep, I'm in love."
This is in my personal top 10 games. I am playing it all the time on Board Game Arena. I'm like, and the more I've played it, the more I'm just like, I will never be tired of this game. Having the dice and what you roll determine like what you can,
Everything. Determines everything.
And it's just, but you're not limited to like what you can do with those dice.
Yep.
You can choose to use it to place your tiles. You can choose it to get the tiles off the board. You can choose it to get workers. You can choose it to sell goods. It's just like, oh, it's so good. My number 3 is the Castles of Burgundy.
Okay, so my number 3 is one that I don't have. I recently was introduced to this game a couple months ago, I think. And I love it. This is one I've only played once, but I can see the potential, and the fact that I loved it so much after that first play is like, yeah, this is probably one that like I would love to add it to my collection. I just think it's so great. It's an asymmetric game where you are battling over certain territories.
Oh, I know what it is.
Do you want to say it?
Root.
Root, yes. So my number 3 is Root. Root currently falls, it's at number 31, so pretty high up on the list. What impressed me the most is just how asymmetric every single faction is. Like literally every single faction can be working towards a completely different goal, something that's completely different than yours, and can win by doing that, even if it's completely separate from what you are focused on and doing. And the way that they have so many different factions, and like I said, they all play so unique. I love the layout of the board. When I was playing, I was just so impressed by how well everything was working together. And even though all the factions were different, they like intertwined so well with one another and worked off of each other. Like it was so fantastic. I was like, yep, this game is phenomenal.
So
and I love the artwork. I know Jordan, that's one that Jordan is not a fan of.
Really?
Based off the artwork, he's like, I really don't want to play it. I'm
like
Jordan!
creatures like battling it up. Oh,
It's
so
so good. But yes, Root is fantastic. I am so excited to jump into it again. I just think it's amazing. So good.
It is really good.
So literally in between the cut, we realized that our number 2 was the same thing. So our number 2 is Blood Rage.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Guys, let's just have a group talk. Let's just sit back, get a drink, and let's talk about how much we love Blood Rage.
Obsessed.
So freaking good.
It's so good. Thank you, Mark, for teaching us this game.
We are obsessed. We love Blood Rage. Let's just
it.
forget that I scored, like 30 points our first game.
That's okay.
I came back. I redeemed myself. But in Blood Rage,
It's upside down.
Oh, is it? Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, that would have been embarrassing.
It's okay, we got it.
Blood Rage. So Blood Rage is an area control game where you take on the role of like a certain Vikings, and you're going out trying to pillage and plunder and get as much glory as you can while it's not Valhalla. Valhalla is like the afterworld.
Yeah.
What's the
Before
world that's
Ragnarok?
Ragnarok, thank you. Before Ragnarok occurs and the board is slowly blowing up in different areas. I think my favorite part about this game though is how quick gameplay feels, because every single turn and every single thing that you do, it's like you have these actions and you just pick one, do it, and it just goes right to the next person. And so gameplay feels so fast that you always feel engaged.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way that the cards work with each other, and how you can different names of different gods of the cards that you're collecting work well with each other. Like, so much about this is just fantastic. It's so good.
And like we played it on BGA. That's how we learned it, was playing it on BGA, and obviously loved it enough, and that I was like, okay, I need this game in my collection. I know Carly wants to add it to her collection.
Yeah.
And having my own copy of it has made me like love it even more.
I agree.
Because like, the table presents, the miniatures are so...
When you get those big honking miniatures, like the monsters out.
They're so fun. One of the things that I love, again, I love how it's played in 3 ages. Turns are quick. I love the drafting that happens.
Love the drafting.
But it's not like, I don't feel like too intimidated to like go and fight. Like in Root, I sometimes feel like too intimidated to like want to go and like risk like
you're like,
die.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, like I feel scared to do that. But in this one, I'm like, you know what? I have this quest that I'm working towards that I get 11 points if I have 4 people that I release from Valhalla. So like if they die,
like,
they go to Valhalla.
If you die, it's fine.
Yeah, like, so there's ways to work around like being like, you know what, it's okay if I go and fight. Or if like you get your ship destroyed, you get a bunch of glory for having your ship destroyed. And then like purposely sending your people to the place where Ragnarok is going to destroy. Because you
want them to
there is
die.
no greater glory for a Viking than to be killed by Ragnarok. So like the theme is just like great too. It's so fun.
Fantastic.
Obviously we both are loving this game. We're both obsessed with it.
We are full blown obsessed with Blood Rage.
In probably my top 3 games now.
I've been working on my list. I've been working on my top 50 list because I want to do a top 50 for us.
Yes.
And Blood Rage is very high. That's all I have to say.
Spoilers.
Blood Rage,
I'm like, I was gonna say top 10,
right
but
up
I was
there.
like, is it my top 3? Like, I love it.
This is
it's so good.
One of my favorite area control
Like,
games.
look at my cheeks hurt.
I know.
Smiling about this game.
Blood Rage. It is fantastic. Definitely one you need to check out if you are into
Did we
area
say
control
what
games.
it's currently ranked?
Oh no, I didn't. What is it?
It's currently ranked
49.
49. So it's like right below it's in the top 50
Top
on
50.
BGG.
Yep.
So
Unfortunately,
I had all these other games that I was packing to bring with me, and I forgot to bring my
your number one. I'll put a really big picture of it right
really
here.
Big. Currently ranked, let's see, number 78 on the top 100. But it is my personal number 1, and that is Race for the Galaxy. I love love this game. It's so good, and again, it's like one of the ones that like I played that I think like there are a lot of games that like I played that brought me like that I'm like, oh, that like got me really into the amazingness of what board games are. But it's one that like it left me like reeling. Like I have to play this game. I have to play it again. I have to figure it out. I have to and I still don't feel like I figured it out, but that's okay. Like I know how to play it, but it's just always like the different strategies and the way that the things happen. Starting world cards that you get at the beginning can kind of help you like aim you or gear you towards like what kind of strategy you want to work towards. Or like if you want to like do the alien strategy, if you want to do like developments, and just the way the different cards can build off of each other. Or if you want to like just straight up go for like producing and trying to get the victory points, because there's 2 different ending conditions, and that's the victory points, the set amount of victory points that you put in the pool. It's 12 per player. Either all of those are gone first, or if someone has 12 cards built in their tableau. And if someone is like, people are doing developing and settling like every time, that can happen really fast.
Yes.
So there's like it is a race. So good. I love it. Race for the Galaxy, my number 1 off of and it is my number one
in general. Well, we're kind of on the same track, because my number 1 from the top 100 is currently my favorite game of all time. And it's gonna be no surprise, no shock to anybody, but it is The Lost Ruins of Arnak. This was the game that was well, when I was first kind of started to get into when I first started to get into gaming, I found out about Board Game Geek, and I went on and I was like, I looked at the hotness, and this was the one that caught my eye, and I'm like, okay, that looks interesting. And then I got it, and I sat down, and I taught myself this game. Being a new gamer, I taught myself this game, and I just fell so in love with this game. I mean, as of recently, there's one game that I've played that may possibly knock this down, but throughout a whole, couple years I've been gaming, this one has sat very comfortably at the very top of my list. I won't go into too much detail because, like I said, Kim already mentioned this game, but I adore this game. I just love how there's, like, you have to manage, all of the cards, and you're trying to figure out that puzzle of how to get the certain resources, kind of like in Everdell.
Yeah.
Right? You're trying to figure out how to get the resources you need and how to kind of stretch your turns as long as you possibly can. Has the deck building element, it has the adventuring, flipping over tiles, fighting monsters element, it has the tracks, it has the I don't know, I am obsessed with this game. I am always ready to play it. I was talking to Jordan the other day. I was like, yeah, Arnak's my favorite game. He's like, that one's still your favorite game? I'm like, yes, Arnak is my favorite game. And again, when I speak about Arnak, it's with the expansion. I think the expansion is what made this game perfect in my mind, because it adds that asymmetrical kind of powers and abilities that you have. So yeah, in my mind, this is like a perfect game for me. All right, so those are our top 10 games from the Board Game Geek Top 100 list. So how many did we cross over? Let's see.
So Ruins, Blood Rage,
Yes.
Castles,
Everdell.
So was it 4? Was it more than 4? Or was I right?
I think that was it.
I was
I did
right.
4. You were like spot on.
But I wasn't completely right about your list.
Okay, what were the ones
I thought that you would put Scythe on there.
I considered Scythe. Scythe was on my short list. I think it came in actually at like 12.
And I thought you were going to put Quacks on there.
I love Quacks. I don't know if it's like a fun game for me. I don't know if I would consider it like the top 10 out of the top 10 good. Yeah. But I really enjoy Quacks. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Did all the ones I guessed for you? I don't even remember the ones that I guessed.
So you guessed Blood Rage,
Power Grid,
Race for the Galaxy. There was a fourth one. I think you guessed Castles.
Castles.
Yeah, so the 4 that you guessed,
yes,
you were right. And they were like at the top. They were on like the top end of the list, so there you go.
I will make sure to put a link in the description to the top 100 list. So I want you, whoever's listening, you, right now, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at the camera, looking at you. Go to that list. Go through all of them and give us like your top 1 or top 10 or your top 3 games. If you had to pick, 3 or 10 games or whatnot from the Board Game Geek Top 100 list.
I feel like it would be a lot of games to add to our collection. Or like just go to the library and be like, we should go through a series where we are slowly like playing through all the ones.
We really should. We should like take it 10 at a time, starting with the top 10. And like go down and try to play as many as we can. Because I was actually surprised as I was going through how many I haven't played. It was like embarrassing. I was like, there's so many on here that I haven't played yet. So we just need to go through. And then after we played them all, then we can come back at you with an update, more precise list after having played every single game. Thank you so much for watching this list today. If you enjoyed this list and you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, it means so much if you could do that. It really helps support us in everything that we're doing over here. But until next time, we hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you later. So when you put dying a little bit.
My mouth.
Your chair. Oh. Nailed it.